Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
The bright skyline of New Odessa shimmered under the artificial sun, a swirling mix of human ingenuity and alien technology. Skyscrapers dotted the landscape, their forms stretching impossibly high, some resembling organic structures made from bioengineered materials that pulsed softly with vibrant hues. Among these marvels, the cultural hub was bustling, filled with people from Earth and beyond, each adding their unique essence to the vibrant tapestry of life. Elena Carver navigated the throngs of people with purpose. Her heart raced with anticipation, the enticing scent of spices from street vendors mingling with the sweetness of blooming alien flora. As a xenobiologist, she was no stranger to the wonders of the universe, but today was different. Today, she would meet beings from a species she had studied for years, the Lithians, a majestic race known for their imposing stature and intricate histories. "A journey awaits," she whispered to herself, a smile dancing on her lips. As she arrived at the Interspecies Conference Hall, Elena was struck by the sight before her. Alien constructs mingled with human designs, each booth bursting with technology and artifacts representing their respective worlds. The excitement was palpable, the air crackling with potential. This was the place where barriers dissolved and curiosity flourished. She moved through the exhibits, each display igniting her imagination and taking her deeper into the mysteries of the cosmos. It was a maze of light, sound, and new ideas, the perfect setting for her to connect with beings who had crossed the very stars to be here. And then she saw him, standing beneath the glow of a hovering light. Kether seemed almost otherworldly. He towered over the crowds, his skin a deep, rich blue with luminescent markings that told stories of his lineage. Broad-shouldered and powerful, he exuded a confidence that made others step back in awe. Each movement was fluid, displaying a grace that belied his size. Their eyes met across the hall, and in that instant, Elena felt a jolt of energy, a connection that transcended the physical. Kether's gaze bore into her, a mixture of curiosity and caution. There was something impossibly alluring about this alien being, and his presence sent a shiver down her spine. As fate would have it, their paths crossed. In an unguarded moment, Kether approached Elena, a mix of shy intrigue and deliberate grace. "You are human," he stated, his voice deep and resonate, drawing her in. She chuckled lightly, feeling more bold than she'd ever felt. "And you're a Lithians. Tall, but I can handle it." His eyes twinkled with amusement. "I am too big for you, human." Her cheeks flushed with heat. Was that flirtation she detected? Responding to the challenge, she whispered, "Try me." Both smiled, caught in the web of intrigue they were weaving together. Little did they know, the worlds they constructed in that moment would lead to a journey unlike any other. A journey filled with love, cultural exploration, and perhaps consequences that neither were prepared to face. Elena spent the next hours weaving through the conference, her mind buzzing with excitement about her imminent collaboration with Kether. Every spoken word felt like the threads of a tapestry being woven together. Each story he shared about his planet felt monumental, like a discovery that had been waiting for her all her life. The following day, they reunited at a separate workshop focused on xenobiological ethics. The room was filled with scientists of varying backgrounds, but Kether's commanding presence drew eyes and ears wherever he turned. Elena couldn't help but admire the gentleness behind his blue exterior, an unexpected softness that made her heart race. "May I?" Kether gestured to the seat next to her. "Of course," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. As the facilitator began to speak, Elena found it difficult to concentrate. Kether sat close, his warmth radiating like a sunbeam, drawing her in while his deep voice resonated through her. Fascinated, she caught pieces of his alien language. Kether occasionally leaned in to explain nuances or share insights, each time brushing against her arm or shoulder. "Have you ever wondered what it would feel like?" Kether murmured, his intense sapphire eyes locking onto hers. "To embrace the unknown, like the vastness of a foreign world?" Elena swallowed hard, feeling a shiver of anticipation. "I've dedicated my life to exploring the unknown. I crave it." His expression shifted. intrigue morphing into something deeper. "Then we are not so different," he said softly. The conversation unfolded like a rose blooming, revealing layers of vulnerability, fears of prejudices, hopes for acceptance, and dreams of unity between their species. Kether shared tales of his home, the Lithians' culture steeped in harmony with their environment, how they communicated not just through words, but through the very fabric of their being. However, resolve flickered behind his eyes. "But humans often see size, and not spirit," he conceded, a melancholy weight in his voice. "Many of my people would not accept a union. Interactions with your kind are frowned upon." Elena's heart raced. She wanted him to see beyond the parameters of their societies. "What if we challenge that perception?" she suggested boldly. "Together we can build a bridge, show them the beauty in our differences." Kether's gaze pierced her soul, contemplating her words. In that moment, she understood that there was more at stake than just their budding relationship. There was the possibility of reshaping perspectives, a venture that could echo throughout their worlds. The workshop concluded, yet Elena's heart felt heavy with unresolved questions. The turbulence of yearning and societal confines was palpable. Kether gazed at her, an unspoken understanding passing between them. "Would you like to see my culture?" he asked, a flicker of hope in his voice. "Absolutely," she replied, excitement bubbling within her. They set a date to visit Lit High, each of them eager and anxious about what that journey might reveal. The thought of stepping onto an alien world sent butterflies scampering through her stomach and ignited her desire for exploration. Adrenaline coursed through her veins. This was an opportunity of a lifetime, and yet, part of her hesitated. The day finally arrived, and Kether stood before Elena in a glistening, iridescent cloak, a regal robe that accentuated his figure, swirling with colors that mirrored the very essence of his home. As she stepped closer, the world around them melted away. "Are you ready?" Kether asked, his voice low and deep. Elena nodded, feeling the weight of his gaze around her. "I'm ready." With that, they ventured into the unknown. The ship shimmered like a pearl against the deep expanse of space. Kether's vessel, the Likith, was a hybrid of organic and technological marvel. As they traveled, it pulsed with a rhythm reminiscent of a heartbeat. As they ascended through the layers of atmosphere, Elena's excitement intensified, her mind racing with the possibilities that awaited them on Lit High. "I've always dreamed of this," she remarked, gazing out the viewport as the colors of their destination swirled into view. An iridescent land painted with lush greenery and vast oceans, punctuated by shimmering mountain ranges that appeared to sing under the light of multiple moons. Kether turned to her, his expression softening. "It is not just a dream anymore. Welcome to my world, Elena." As the ship touched down, the door opened to a world bursting with vibrant life. Breathing in the sweet, floral aroma, Elena was enveloped in the sounds of nature, whispers of wind through shimmering leaves, the distant calls of nocturnal creatures, and everything felt alive around her. Her heart raced with gratitude and wonder. "Isn't it beautiful?" Kether asked, observing her reaction. "It's breathtaking," she admitted, her voice trembling with emotion. "I can't believe I'm finally here." He beamed, his pride evident. "Our bond with nature runs deep. Our lives are intertwined with these woods and waters." As they ventured deeper into the lush landscape, Elena found herself captivated by every detail of Lit High. Kether guided her through bioluminescent gardens, filled with flowers that seemed to glow in rhythm with their pulses, revealing a luminescence that mirrored Kether's skin. Each bloom was a new discovery, their songs echoing ancient truths about his people's harmonious relationship with their land. Hours melted away as they explored together, Kether's teachings effortless and genuine. With every lesson, every shared laugh, the walls that separated them began to dissolve. Kether exhibited an aptitude for making the foreign feel familiar, as if bridging two worlds had always been his calling. "Tell me more about your people," Elena encouraged, as they rested upon a hilltop, the sun setting below the horizon, creating a tapestry of colors. Kether's gaze turned serious. "We respect all forms of life. Strength is not just physical, it's also in humility and compassion. My people see challenges as opportunities to evolve." "Sound a lot like us," she joked lightly, But then her tone shifted. "But are there challenges your people face regarding interspecies relationships?" Kether sighed, the weight of the question hanging in the air. "Yes, our traditions dictate boundaries. Those who choose to mate outside our species are often viewed as betrayers of our legacy. But," he added, a gleam of determination sparking in his eyes, "I believe there is strength in love that transcends these barriers." Elena's heart swelled with admiration. "You're remarkable, Kether. Your perspective is refreshing. I want to show you that humans can be just as understanding." With the sun dipping below the hills, a hush settled around them, and in that silence, their gazes met once more. In that moment, an invisible string tied them together, heavier than mere fascination, yet delicate enough to ignite a flame of yearning. Kether leaned in slightly, the tension palpable. "We are bound by more than curiosity, Elena," he murmured. "I feel a pull between us, a longing." "Me too," she confessed, her voice barely a whisper. And then, unable to resist any longer, Kether closed the distance, capturing her lips with his own. The kiss was electric, an exquisite blend of warmth and passion, sending ripples of longing coursing through her. He was cautious yet hungry, an artist painting across the canvas of her mouth with intoxicating precision. Elena melted against him, her fingers threading through his hair, reveling in the sensation of his presence enveloping her. It was a beautiful paradox. The strength of his frame contrasted against the gentleness of his kiss. They pulled apart, breathless, and both aware they had crossed an uncharted boundary. "What now?" she mused, vulnerability lacing her voice. "We explore this together," Kether replied, a smile teasing his lips. "And whenever you are ready, my home will always welcome you." Their days turned into weeks, filled with exploration, laughter, and connection. They visited peaks overlooking the expanse of shimmering oceans, danced under the swirling lights of Lithi's bioluminescent night skies, and together learned the nuances of each other's worlds. Elena introduced Kether to Earth's culture, watching in delight as he tried sushi for the first time, marveling at the variety of landscapes that her world had to offer. Kether's laughter was infectious, and moments spent in each other's presence turned into memories that would remain etched in her heart. And yet, doubt lingered in the background like a shadows, a constant whisper threatening to tear them apart. Each shared moment of intimacy brought her closer to the precipice of something inevitable, something beautiful yet terrifying. As they prepared for an important cultural ceremony among Kether's people, the air crackled with uncertainties and possibilities. Elena felt a surge of emotions, exhilaration mixed with fear, both exhilarated and terrified of what lay ahead. The day of the cultural ceremony dawned with a sense of gravity that hung in the air like a delicate thread waiting to be pulled. Elena stood in front of a mirror, adorned in a flowing gown woven from the finest fabrics of Lithi, a vibrant blend of colors that shimmered like Kether's skin under the bright light of the twin suns. The gown hugged her curves in a way that made her feel like she was part of the very landscape itself, embodying the beauty that surrounded her. As she made her way outside, Elena was greeted by Kether, who appeared regal and striking in ceremonial garb. His cloak cascaded down nearly to his ankles, intricately embroidered with patterns that told stories of his ancestors. "You look stunning," he said, his deep voice laced with admiration. "Thank you," Elena replied, her heart fluttering at the sincerity in his gaze. The ceremonial site lay spread before them, a gathering of Kether's people, each adorned in elaborate attire, celebrating their culture. The air was thick with the sweet scent of incense and the melodic sounds of Lithi's traditional music resonating through the softly illuminated grove. As they approached, whispers rippled through the gathered crowd. Some were curious, others wary. Kether held her hand tightly, as if to reassure her amid the uncertainty. "Will they accept us?" she asked, her confidence wavering. Kether turned to her, his brow creased with concern. "We'll show them that love knows no boundaries." Together, they stepped into the circle where an elder emerged, tall and wise, embodying the strength of generations past. With a booming voice, he called for silence, and the gathered residents turned their attention to Kether and Elena. "This is a moment of unity," he declared. We celebrate the bond between two worlds. May it strengthen our cultures and teach us to embrace the richness of diversity." Elena felt Kether's fingers entwined with hers, the warmth igniting a fire within her. They stood before the community, creatures of two different worlds, yet inextricably linked by something much stronger than societal conventions. As the ceremony progressed, the atmosphere shifted. Kether performed traditional rites, invoking the spirit of his ancestors and asking for their blessings. Elena admired him, his reverence radiating from him like an ancient song echoing in the wind. They shared vows that defied the societal expectations and prejudices that swirled like storm clouds about them. Then came the moment that turned their lives upside down, the culmination of two souls merging, exploring the depths of each other's desires and passions. With the elders' blessing and the community as witnesses, Elena and Kether stepped away from the formal proceedings and into the privacy of a secluded grove. Kether pulled her close, both of their bodies vibrating with anticipation as they left the weight of the world behind. Their surroundings faded. The very air seemed to hum as they closed the distance once more, lips crashing together fervently, igniting a wildfire of passion that had been simmering since their first encounter. Each kiss felt electric, feeding the primal urge that coursed through them. The kiss deepened, growing more heated as passion overpowered hesitations. Grounding herself in the moment, Elena explored Kether's broad shoulders, tracing her fingers along the contours of his powerful physique. Slowly, their bodies began to intertwine, falling into the soft grass beneath them. The world melted away as they connected, surrounded by bioluminescent flora that shimmered in response to their energy. Kether's breath hitched in her ear as he explored the delicate curves of her form with reverence, each touch sending shivers racing through her skin. He was both gentle and firm, an intoxicating combination that drove her wild. "Elena," he breathed, breaking the kiss to admire her. "You are exquisite." She smiled, her heart swelling with desire and affection. "I feel alive with you." With one motion, Kether cradled her face in his hands, his eyes searching hers as though seeking permission. It was a silent acknowledgement of their union, every movement a profound exploration of trust and intimacy. As they surrendered to their desires, the boundaries of their worlds began to dissolve, each moment painted with hues of connection. Kether's hands danced over her body, setting her skin ablaze. It was raw, passionate, and exhilarating. Two beings, once bound by their differences, now found solace in their convergence. Tentative breaths turned into soft gasps as they reveled in the beauty of their union, their bodies entwined in a rhythm that spoke to the very essence of love. Kether's massive frame enveloped her, a protective presence that ignited every fiber of her being. Under the stellar light of Lithai's moons, they explored the contours of each other, embracing the beauty of vulnerability and trust. Each kiss, every lingering touch drove them deeper into each other, erasing every hesitation and doubt. They became inseparable in that moment, two souls entwined under a cosmic tapestry of starlit intimacy, a union that would not only define their relationship, but also challenge the staunch traditions that threatened to tear them apart. As passion unfurled, Elena knew that they had crossed an unalterable threshold, a bond that would forever change their lives. With every heartbeat, every sigh, a new chapter began. Engulfed in the afterglow of their passionate union, Elena lay nestled in Kether's arms, the bioluminescent flora around them casting a soft glow like stars fallen to the earth. A sense of calm enveloped her like a warm cocoon, yet beneath that calm, a nagging anxiety began to stir. "What happens now?" she murmured, glancing up at Kether, whose cerulean skin now shimmered gently in the light. His gaze held an intensity that made her heart race. "Our bond has been sealed in both worlds," Kether replied, his voice deep and soothing. "But the path ahead may be fraught with challenges." Her brow furrowed, a sense of foreboding creeping in. "What kind of challenges?" "Not all will accept this union," he admitted, the weight of his words settling between them. "My people may not understand, and I fear the ramifications of our connection." Elena sat up, the glistening grass around her shifting, the unease settling deeper into her stomach. "But this love, we've made it real," Surely they can't deny what we have. Kether's expression faltered, frustration intertwining with sorrow. Love is often overshadowed by tradition. I'm not sure they will see our union as you do. As they returned to the gathering, the atmosphere shifted. While some celebrated their bond, others wore expressions of discontent. Elena felt the scrutiny of unfamiliar eyes upon her, the electrifying hush of whispers, like daggers, slicing through the richness of the moment. The elder who had officiated their union stepped forward, his gaze unwavering. You have defied societal expectations, Kether. To merge with a human is unprecedented. Elena's heart sank, the weight of his disapproving words palpable in the air. We did not act out of rebellion, she interjected, her voice trembling but determined. We acted out of love, a love that transcends borders. The infraction against our customs requires acknowledgement, the elder stated, stone-faced. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Kether stepped forward, defiance ringing in his voice. We cannot allow ignorance to dictate our hearts. This is a new era, a union that could illuminate the path for future generations. Elena felt Kether's struggle pulsing like a heartbeat within her. He was fighting for them, and the depth of his conviction only deepened her love for him. But she was also acutely aware of the barrier they faced, both from light and dark. As the day turned to night, the once celebratory atmosphere turned tense, fraying at the edges as tensions rose among the Letheans. They had come together to witness the birth of a new chapter. Yet as the elders debated the consequences, Elena felt a chasm opening between them. In the following days, the consequences of their union became true to life. Kether seemed burdened, the weight of his people's expectations pressing heavily on his broad shoulders. Despite the warmth of their love, frustrations bubbled over into heated discussions with his fellow members. I cannot ignore their judgment, Kether voiced one evening, pacing their room as shadows flickered against the walls. This is my family's legacy, and I hold more than just my own heart in my hands. No one can dictate your heart but you, Elena replied, trying to remain calm amidst the rising tide of emotions. You told me love should be above all. Kether paused, the conflict in his expression more painful than she could bear. Love does not erase bloodline or tradition. It complicates it. Does it? She shot back, the sense of helplessness making her tone sharper than she intended. If we allow fear to win, how can we hope for change? We both know that there is beauty in our differences. With his hands balled into fists, Kether turned away, wrestling with his thoughts. I want to fight for us, but the consequences are dire. There are those who would see our union torn apart. What happens if they reject you? What happens if one day our love isn't enough? Tears brimmed in her eyes, a mixture of frustration and heartache bubbling up. We can face this together. We already are. We have built a bridge. Don't let them destroy it. Kether turned back to face her, anguish sweeping through his features. Elena, my heart belongs to you. But in the face of my people, I am bound by duty. You must understand. The chasm deepened, and Elena felt the weight of his struggle, a battle rooted deep within culture and loyalty. Yet in her heart, her resolve only solidified. I can't go back to Earth without you, she whispered, vulnerability exposing her chest. This feeling, it's grown into something that cannot simply be ignored. Perhaps, Kether sighed, the lines on his face softening. But the question remains, what will my people decide? As if on cue, the surrounding world thrust itself into chaos when a faction of Letheans, led by a staunch traditionalist, rose against Kether's bold claim. They challenged his right to intertwine with a human, insisting that such a union was nothing less than a betrayal to their kind. Their voices rose like a tempest, echoing across the woodlands as arguments erupted, fertile ground giving way to doubt and fear. Kether tread the path of diplomacy, desperately seeking a resolution. During an emotionally charged meeting, the elder challenged Elena, accusing her of attempting to reshape their culture. Your mere presence threatens our very identity, he proclaimed, his voice brittle with anger. Is it a threat, or is it a chance to grow? She urged, her heart racing. We can embrace our differences. Together we could flourish. The crowd's response was mixed. some murmuring in agreement while others spoke over her in a deafening chorus. Kether stood at her side, shoulders squared, indomitable enough to protect her, yet visibly pained. But not all held his strength. In the frenzy of voices, a cry rang out, weaving through the chaos. "You bring shame upon your kin." Elena's heart dropped, the piercing sentiment echoing the fears that haunted her. She clutched Kether's hand tightly, aware that if the bond of love they had forged was nibbled away by fear, it would fracture everything they had built together. And what followed was uncertain, a battle not only for acceptance, but for love to overcome traditions that had endured for centuries. Kether looked toward her, fear and determination mingling in his eyes. "Together," she whispered, encapsulating the gravity of their struggle. "Together," he echoed, a resolute promise woven into their souls. The air crackled with tension as voices rose and clashed like waves against a stormy shore. Elena and Kether drifted to the edge of the gathering, their hearts pounding as they faced the terrifying reality of rejection, cultural and personal. The crowd, a mix of intrigue and outrage, echoed the conflicting emotions swirling inside each of them. In the face of Kether's people's unease, Elena felt a grounding sense of duty rise within her. It became clear that if they were to forge a path forward, they must take a stand, not just for themselves, but for the future that glimmered uncertainly ahead. "Listen," Kether finally proclaimed, his deep voice slicing through the chaos. "This union is not a threat to our identity, but an opportunity to extend our legacy beyond the stars. We should not fear the unknown, but embrace it." As they turned their attention to Kether, a ripple of murmurs spread among the Letheans. Elena felt her heart race. There was courage in his words, a beacon of hope amid the turbulent waters of tradition. But the traditionalist faction remained unmoved, unwilling to concede. "You are blinded by emotion, Kether," shouted the leader, his voice laced with disdain. "This human represents change at the cost of our very essence. We must protect our legacy at all costs." "Then let us redefine what legacy means." Elena shot back, stepping forward to stand beside Kether, her heart pounding. She felt the weight of eyes, curious and skeptical, upon her. "Our love can be a bridge that connects worlds. Isn't strengthening our cultures and bonds what ancestors should desire? Love is the essence of life." Gasps reverberated, but as she continued, something shifted among the crowd. Kether's fierce gaze never left hers, an unspoken reassurance that bolstered her growing confidence. "Change is threatening," she acknowledged, "but so is stagnation. Just as our worlds evolve, so too must we. With each union between our peoples, we can learn to grow, to celebrate our differences rather than hide from them." Finally, she turned to face Kether. "If we cannot accept each other, what hope do we offer the future?" Kether stepped forward, emboldened by Elena's words. "There may be pain in transitioning, but love can heal wounds if we allow it to flourish. I do not wish to abandon my people, but I refuse to deny the love I hold for this woman," he gestured to Elena, "and the love that could blossom between our worlds." The tension in the air felt transformative, shifting like the leaves dancing in a gentle breeze. Kether's words struck a chord, causing the crowded assembly to shift on their feet, murmurs of thought rippling among them. But distrust remained rooted in a few hearts. The elder once more raised his voice, eyes glimmering with an emotional intensity. "What do you propose, Kether? That we simply overlook our traditions? That we throw aside centuries of understanding?" "No," Kether replied slowly, his voice calm yet filled with conviction. "But we seek the wisdom of our past as we carve a path forward. Just as the Letheans have learned from nature, we must be willing to adapt. Our ancestors faced change, and through trial, they flourished. Let us give this union a chance to build an understanding, rather than reject it outright." As the crowd contemplated Kether's proposal, a cautious wave of acceptance began to surge. The whispers shifted from criticism to curiosity. Hope glimmered with each passing moment. What would this mean for our culture? A voice ventured from the crowd. "Education," Kether suggested, his enthusiasm rising. "Understanding. By creating spaces for both our peoples to interact, we will learn together to navigate our differences and flourish hand in hand." Elena chimed in. Let us begin with cultural exchanges, festivals, education, shared stories. We can bridge divides through shared experiences. Her passion ignited enthusiasm in the crowd. As perspectives started to shift among the Letheans, they began to visualize the beauty of collaboration, where traditions could coexist. Kether's determination paired with Elena's heartfelt vision made a potent mix, one that could spark empathy and understanding. Slowly, the atmosphere transformed into something electric. Community members, who once stood apart, stepped closer to one another. Faces brightened as the possibility of merging their worlds filled the air like the vibrant glow of days ahead. "I will lead discussions with our peoples," Kether asserted. "We shall create forums where both sides can voice concerns and suggestions that our love may guide the way." He turned to Elena, his eyes filled with adoration. "And I will always stand beside you, through the trials and triumphs." In that moment, Kether's steadfastness ignited strength in Elena's heart. The love they shared felt tangible, as if it held the power to reshape their futures and those of their worlds. When the meeting concluded, the crowd began to part, but before them, a figure stepped forward, an older woman, aged yet spirited, who had remained silent thus far. With a twinkle in her eye, she offered a challenge. "Let us see the unity through the sacred rite, a ceremony where both our kinds do just as you have proposed. Let the stars bear witness." As she spoke, excitement coursed through the crowd. Kether took Elena's hand, squeezing gently. They had transformed the tide of rejection into waves of acceptance, but they needed more, a symbolic representation of the bond they fought to forge. A ceremony could pave the way to acceptance, not just for them, but for future generations. Through tradition, they could build a new narrative, celebrating their love and the merging of their cultures. Elena felt Kether's hope intertwining with hers, a shared vision guiding them from the shadows of doubt. Together, they stepped forward on a path that would shape destinies. "Together," she whispered, emboldened. "Together," Kether echoed, a promise that transcended words. As their journey continued, they would illuminate the beautiful tapestry woven between their worlds, each thread vibrant with unity, love, and cultural harmony waiting to blossom. Days turned into weeks as Elena and Kether worked tirelessly to bring their dream of unity to fruition. The sacred rite emerged as an emblem of hope, an event that would celebrate their love and weave together the cultures of Earth and Lit High. The ceremony was meticulously prepared, blending elements from both worlds. Kether invited human musicians to play alongside Letheans. Vibrant decorations adorned the landscape, and tales of both peoples echoed through the glistening hall built in the heart of the grove. Elena felt the excitement building as both communities gathered on the day of the rite. The air was thick with anticipation and vibrant energy. Their unity inspired countless respects and shared laughter, creating a familial atmosphere that transcended their differences. As the ceremony commenced, Elena and Kether stood hand in hand before the assembly. They exchanged vows, not just to one another but to their people, pledging to work together to bridge cultures and hearts. Their words intertwined, echoing through the woodlands and over the verdant hills, affirming a bold new narrative where love triumphed over tradition. "Let us embrace the unknown," Kether declared, echoing the sentiments that had fueled their journey. "Let our bond grow, offering a new legacy to generations that will follow." Elena's heart swelled with pride. "We come together, not just as individuals, but as ambassadors for our worlds, lighting the path for harmony and connection." The gathering erupted in cheers, applause reverberating through the grove as elders nodded their approval. Conversations blossomed anew, and faces illuminated with hope and curiosity, a promising future unfurling before them. The following days ushered in a new chapter, not only for Elena and Kether, but for the people of Lit High and Earth alike. New traditions were born as intercultural events flourished, inviting both communities to learn from one another, share their stories, and showcase the beauty rooted in diversity. As Elena and Kether ventured into their shared life, the stakes felt profound. With continued unity, their love grew deeper, transcending boundaries and embracing both worlds. The realization struck them. They were not just creating a life together, but birthing a legacy. But as Elena's belly began to swell and the swell of anticipation filled the air, they both understood that their journey had just begun. Each passing day brought new challenges, international discussions, intercultural education, and the complexities of raising a child, half human, half lithi. Yet, in the glow of impending parenthood, they found strength, love, and comfort in their shared journey. Elena and Kether stood united, willing to face whatever uncertainties the future held. One evening, gazing up at the twin moons hanging in the night sky, their fingers intertwined, she whispered, "We will navigate through it all together." Kether turned to her, his eyes filled with the soft warmth of adoration. "Together," he echoed sincerely. "As always." And as they stood side by side, the glowing stars looked on, witnesses to a love born from risk and courage, one that would transcend worlds and embrace the beauty in everything that made them different as they moved forward, not just as a couple, but as a family, destined to shape the future. Together, they would illuminate the path toward a legacy brighter than either had ever dreamed possible.